Director of the African Center for Higher Education Internationalization in South Africa. He's had a very diverse higher education career before formally entering the higher education internationalization field in 2000, bringing with him senior university management experience and experience as a senior higher education lecturer. He firmly believes internationalization is part of the institutional academic project and not just an administrative activity. So I'd like you all to welcome Dr. Nico Joost from sunny South Africa. I guess it's afternoon there right now. So welcome, Nico, and we'll come back to you shortly. Now we're going to Belgium, although hi, Perry.
Not to Belgium, no.
Oh, Netherlands. Sorry,
Apologies.
My apologies. I've been in Asia a long time, you see. It's Asia.
You have been.
Long way away. Anyway, Professor Perry Hobson, Director of Academy of Tourism at Breda University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands. He actually recently relocated to Europe to take up the role as director. He's lived and worked in UK, USA, and Hong Kong, and has held a variety of senior academic roles in Australia and Malaysia, where he was PVC for Global Engagement at both Taylor's University and Sunway University in Kuala Lumpur, one of my favorite cities. During his 7 years working at Taylor's, he initiated and later led their ranking strategy. So once again, Perry is an old friend of mine working in a similar field. Perry will lead the opposition to the motion. And last but not least, another, I hesitate to say old friend, but someone I've known for a long time, but she's by no means old. I'd like to introduce Karen Peronin, Director of the Executive Master's Programs in École des Ponts Paris Tech in France. Bienvenue, Karen. She is Director of the Executive Master's Programs at École des Ponts. She started her career in higher education in Asia, in Binus University in Jakarta in 2008 as a lecturer. And during her 10 years there, she was in charge of first EPAS accreditation in Indonesia, head of an international business bachelor program, and finally director of international and industry partnerships, international office and QS ranking strategy. It's in her role as international director that I got to know Karen. So welcome, Karen. We're very pleased to have you here from what looks like a very sunny France behind you. Okay, so without further ado, the running order will be as follows. But first of all, I'm going to go to a vote. The running order will be Moritz, followed by Perry, followed by Nico, followed by Karen. And then right at the end, after we've wound up the debate and everyone in the audience has had their opportunity to make their comments, you will each have a 1-minute summary, but we'll then do it in reverse order. So it will be, Karen, you get the opportunity to go first, and Moritz, you get the opportunity to speak last. So without further ado, to all our attendees, and we're very well attended this evening, I would like now to launch a poll as soon as I'm given permission to do so. Yep, here it is. You have 1 minute to agree or disagree with the proposal. Remember, this motion is quite tricky because it says it's a negative. It says students are not the customers of a university. So if you agree they're not the customers, you should vote agree. If you think they are customers, you should click on disagree. Okay, so about a third of you have voted so far. So come on, the rest of you. You must have an opinion. You're academics after all. You've got 15 seconds before I end the poll. So at the moment, only about 2/3 of you have voted. So very quickly. I'm going to count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, most of you voted, but not all of you. Just a small percentage didn't. And this is very interesting. This is going to be tight, guys. The motion, students are not the customers of a university. 51% of our attendees agree with that motion. So, Moritz, you have a very small lead, slender lead at the moment, you and Nico. And the underdogs by just 2 percentage points at 49% are Perry and Karen. So you can all see those results. I hope you remember them for when we come towards the end. I know, without further ado, I'm going to share the results with all of you so you can see them. And I'm just quickly writing them down for myself. Okay, everyone seen the results? I'm now going to stop sharing. And I'm going to move to Professor Moritz van Rooyen. Moritz, you have 5 minutes beginning now to speak for the motion.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin. Actually, that is a very interesting poll. I kind of assumed that the big, overwhelming number of people would agree that we should be very, very careful not to refer to students as customers of a university. But I guess Kevin was right in his introduction. It's the slightly ambivalent way the statement is made, which actually forces you to declare not to disagree with that. So it's a very important point. It's something I feel really passionate about. You know, what is the most important moment when it comes to studying at the university? For me, for the students, it is the moment they graduate, right? And when you see all these happy students, what I do not see is people who are satisfied customers, happy with the degree they have just purchased. When you start referring to students as customers, that's actually the message you start giving. Now, technically, of course, I have economic trainings as well. I can say, well, no, wait a moment. Customers are people who purchase services. So therefore, by definition, they are customers. It's a very dangerous way when you go there. And I see this happening all the time. Universities, the reputation becomes brands, students become customers. It's all about performance management. We go in a very slippery slope here. We lose what really education is about, and we should just avoid at all cost ever to use that kind of language, even though technically and academically we might be right to use it. We can have a great debate today, but actually just please do not do that. Why? Because students are so much more than customers. And when you reduce them to customers, actually you introduce a concept which distorts the reality. The language we use is both a reflection, but also it shapes our perceptions. And therefore, I am passionately against us ever to use that kind of technical language as well. They are customers because they buy services. They are really members of a community. What is a university really about? Let's carefully think that through. The Latin word says it all. It's an alma mater. It's the nurturing mother. That is what our relationship with students are. The students are there as a community of people being prepared for life. They are not purchasing anything. The relationship they have with their mother, the alma mater, isn't one of transaction. I pay you and you prepare me for my exams, and then I pass my exams, and then I'm entitled to get a piece of paper, and I have bought this effectively with my investment, right? The fees is an investment. It is a kind of language which makes me really, really worried. And it is a type of language which has been introduced with the massification of higher education, and all that makes a lot of sense. It's all inevitable, but we have to be really careful that we do not go down this slippery slope. Sure, I work in the private sector. Of course, I'm well aware that you need to balance your academic aspirations with business realities. That is all very clear, but it's not only about the A for academic aspirations and the B for business reality. It's also about the C. And when I say C, I don't mean consumers. I mean communities. We are building at universities communities. We build up an emotional relationship with the students, with the alumni of the alma mater. That's where the word alumni comes from. We might have forgotten that, it's an emotional relationship which lasts a lifetime if we do it right. If we don't do it right, yes, indeed, they become consumers. And we are right to use that word. But I passionately plead, dear colleagues, don't go down that route. Even if academically you might argue, yes, they are, it falls in the economic definition of a consumer, don't go down that route, because we are rapidly losing something which is at the core of what we are trying to do as educators. And that is, okay, let's call it a little bit the magic of education, but it has worked well for many, many centuries. It has served our students and our alumni so well. And if we start looking at education as a transactional operation, we really miss the point. And the point is that we build up an emotional relationship with members of our community, including our own professors, who are also members of those communities. They are not just merely employees. They're not there to work, according to timekeeping, etc. When you are a professor, you are passionate about your work. You're not just teaching a number of hours and that's it. And the students are not coming just to attend your classes and that's it. They are part of something really, really passionate, and that is education. So when I saw the word consumer, I immediately said, look, I can see already what the opponents are going to argue. Yes, of course, it's terminology, it is what it is. And I say, when you go down that route, you're going down a very slippery slope, because actually by using the words, you forget what education is really about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Moritz. Yeah, I should say to people, I'm not being rude when I do that. I'm actually just saying you have a minute left.
Was the right finger at least? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. I forgot to say that at the beginning. That was a very impassioned plea from proposer, emotional relationships. And I could feel the emotion in Prof. Moritz's plea there. Language is important. Use the wrong language and you can distort reality. And universities are like nurturing mothers. So there you go. We have a very strong emotional plea in support of the proposal. And now I'm going to go to Professor Perry Hobson, who I'm sure will give just as emotional plea in opposition. Perry, you have 5 minutes beginning now.
Well, thank you very much for that. And for the opening of the debate, to take on an emotional, such an interesting approach to take, because for a long time, education simply wouldn't accept that students had customers' rights, that they were purchasing a range of services from universities. And really, that's been the transformation that's come about through that massification of higher education. And yes, we can talk about education being magical and wonderful and all the rest of it, but the reality is quite different in the world that we now live in. And so education is an industry. In many parts of the world, it is an industry. It survives on customers. When we go and devise a course, we think about who the customers of that are going to be, because it's going to mean a transactional cost, sure. Whether it's individuals paying for that or whether it's government investment, you are becoming a cost that individuals end up going to be paying through fees or government subsidies. So understandably, the idea of a customer orientation never sounds particularly appealing to many traditional and old school academics and educators, because they see this really compromising education. The argument that is so often made is that if they're customers, then everyone will get a degree because they're paying the money. And that's clearly not the case. I mean, what we're seeing about here is that what we've got to look at is that education is a value-adding process. It's transformational of raw, if you like, of students from a raw material into a highly valued product. After all, parents and their children send their children to university in the hope that they're going to be equipped with valuable knowledges. So to be truly customer orientated, higher education must engage all those changing needs. And of course, students are their primary customers. Now, let's not forget, universities also have other customers, and we mustn't forget those, because this is part of the world that we live in. We have industry, we have government. These are also part of this new dynamics that we're talking about, which is why I think, and believe so fervently, we should look at students as customers. Now, the question is controversial in the university environment, but we've really got to look at this in a couple of ways. Customers are essential to any business because they drive revenue. And without revenue, the business or a university are just going to cease to exist. A student, yes, is an individual. They pay fees to take the course. They borrow the money, as I pointed out. If they're not satisfied, they will go elsewhere. Customers do that. And clearly students do that too. Show me the successful university with no students. Show me a successful business with no customers. So the transformation our understanding is that customers is now recognizable in most countries. And what we're seeing is that, particularly in countries such as the UK and Australia. And what we're seeing about that is that students are customers. And as a friend of mine was saying from UCLA, he said, I would challenge anyone to suggest otherwise. We're charging our customers £50,000 over 3 years, and for that cost, they deserve to know they will receive the best service. So students as customers are deserving of services, whether it's student administration, accommodation, proper reporting of grades, whatever it might be. Simply put, in many cases, universities before were ducking these tough questions, saying, but it's all the academics. Thank you. So I'd argue that education is a service, but we have to look at it in a different way because they are customers. And of course, the point is often made that they're not customers because, well, if they just pay for their degree, they get it. That's clearly not being the case. And that's why we have all the regulatory environment that's set up around that. Just because someone goes to a gym and pays a gym membership, and guess what? They don't lose weight. They can't get their money back because, well, I never showed up. I never participated. Gyms have customers. Universities have customers. Students have rights that are enshrined in consumer law. So quite clearly, they are customers by not only the definition, but also we need to move away from this just magical concept and look really at the solid definition of how students have been treated in today's world. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Perry Hobson. Perry talks very much about 50,000 degree, 50,000 K or 50K degree. The students are revenue drivers, along with many other customers of the university. But students are the primary customers engaged in a transformational process for which they pay. There's a quick potted summary of Perry's opening opposition. So without further ado, incidentally, I've got two hands up. I will come to both of you later. That's Harviz and Badrani. I will come to you as soon as the debate is over. Can I suggest the chat for some reason is disabled, I'm told. So if you want to ask anything or make a comment, just go to the Q&A button instead of the chat button. I see there's 3 people on the chat button, but it's disabled for some reason. Anyway, okay. Without further ado, I'm now going to go to Dr. Nico Joost, and Nico is going to speak in support of the motion. Nico, you have 5 minutes beginning now.
Thank you. Listening to my 2 colleagues up to now, and I'm firmly in the corner of Maurits. We need to understand that where we are today and arguing that students are customers actually have a long history from where higher education came. But if we look at the nature of a university and the nature of a student, whether they were those that flocked to different parts of the world because they were knowledge creators and they went to sit at the feet of Gamaliel to listen to them, or whether we are now talking to the same people with the same desires that are recruited and that go to different parts of the world and to their own countries to study, they are still students, and the nature of the university and the nature of knowledge creation and the nature of those that study haven't changed. So why would we now call them customers if in the days when universities were, the foundations of universities were laid, the same principles were driving the knowledge creation? The slippery slope that Moritz is talking about, and it is really a slippery slope, when we start talking about students as customers, one of the real issues that I have with that is that we actually lose the value that we've always had as institutions. Boris spoke about the institutions being a space where we actually like a family, and the relationship between the academic and the student is quite different from the relationship between a car salesman and the buyer. The relationship of a student with the academic has much more to it, and therefore, if we try and define them as a customer, we will also lose that principle where I am there, I am at the space because of you, and I want to put forward the African value of Ubuntu. I am because of you, and it actually have a two-way influence. Firstly, the academic, the professor is there because of the student, and the relationship between the two are different than that of a car salesman and a motor car buyer. The same principle is there between the student and the academic. There's a value that over time they have developed, and therefore it's so different. And if we want to reduce them to customer relationships that we see in the modern world, I believe we're losing the value, and over time we will damage higher education. And I just want to use one or two examples. When we've created short courses where we only look at the sellability and the transfer of skills for a specific purpose, we look at those, the value and the deeper value and the transformational value of those courses, and therefore they had a short shelf life and they disappeared. So in conclusion, if we keep on calling students customers, we might devaluate our value that we create within higher education. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Nico Joost. And Nico talked about slippery slopes. There's a long history of regarding students as customers, but times change. If we do so now, institutions risk losing value if we refer to students as customers. And like Professor Moritz, he talked about relationship and the nature of the relationship between students and their institution and academics. Thank you, Nico. I'm now going to go to our last speaker, but not least in the opening part of this debate. We're now quickly flying over to France and to Karen, and Karen will speak against the motion. Karen, you have 5 minutes, beginning now.
Yes, thank you. And thank you to everyone. Unfortunately, I think the world has changed, right? And then we have to really face the fact that customers are as well our students. I believe that it is now really linked to internationalization. The students, they have the choice to go and to study anywhere and whatever they want. And at that point, that's make us all higher education institution to have to compete with each other, or to even in the good way, positive way, to ensure that we give them a good service. So it's how we have been obliged, or we have created new services. So housing is very important. So good housing. Then we could say as well, everything that could be on campus, that could be the career center we are building and offering to students. That's partnerships as well. And all that makes students having a better experience that will ensure the output or the outcomes to as well be more positive. And that is all the process of, in fact, customer focus. And I'm sorry, we can go back to hundreds of years of history of higher education, but we cannot keep saying that that students are not customers. And it's not negative to say that they are customers. We're talking as well about lifelong learners or continuing education. And it's where as well, I remember a few years ago, NUS was one of the first university in Asia to launch this concept of all their alumni will have 500 hours of continuing education or training available, so they can keep learning. And that is as well a service offer to make sure that we give proper, or do say, or quality to students and to alumni, but as well to keep them within our economic model. And that is where we can say they are customer from before, when they start thinking about which university, even in junior and senior high school, which universities they want to go, which degrees they want to have, which I would say specialties they want to study, until they graduate and until, in fact, retirement. So I would say we need to face the reality. And we need, in fact, if we embrace and we realize that it's true that now students are customers, then we ensure that we keep up and that we offer the best quality of education, of course, the best quality in research, and the best quality in facilities. And that is, for me, really, really important. And I would say as well, because facts are important, everyone here and even in the audience, how much is our communication budget? Yeah, how much has increased the communication budget in every higher education institution since the last 10 years? Okay, the same as if we are looking at, okay, when COVID came, what happened for Australia? What happened to all, even in UK, where the higher education sector lives on international students, right? So that's as well, international students not coming in. It was as well a big problem in terms of finance, right? Economical model. And that is where, and you need to keep up on, okay, I need to bring them back. And it's full sector, higher education sector that has been impacted. And so at some point, it's better to say, okay, we agree that students are customers, but they are customers that need as well to keep up with quality and that follow rules, the rules of the regulation of the university and even the regulation of the Ministry of Higher Education. And at that point, we can co-construct, the co-build together, and to make sure that we bring the best outcomes and the best experience, and to help as well to build countries and to keep up with what is happening now in the world in terms of transformation. And I would say, in terms of social transformation, economic transformation, and industrial transformation. And I would say, thank you.
Thank you, Karen. This is going to be a tough one, guys. We were close at the start, and comments we're getting online suggest, as I feel, the argument's pretty tight even now. Karen talked about the world has changed. Customers, our students are definitely customers. They can study, they can choose to study almost anywhere in the world now. They have a choice. And in order to ensure that we get the best students, we need to provide them with the best service, the best experience during their term at university. So Some very interesting and passionate arguments on both sides. Before I throw it out open to the attendees, and I'm going to go to Harviz in a moment or two, Barani has made a very interesting point in the webinar chat. She says it's true, increasingly students are treated as customers in the contemporary world, where everything is measured with economic value. However, we see the degradation of final products, especially in attitudes. Students are products of our academic efforts. True, the world has changed, but that's because we've forgotten the whole aim of providing education. Our primary customer, and this is the point I really like, are the industries who will employ them. We should satisfy them. I guess I would say our primary customer is society, not just the industries that employ them. Our primary customer is the future in many ways. Okay, I'm going to go to Harviz at this point. Harviz, please take no more than 2 minutes. I'm going to allow you to talk. Go ahead, Harviz. Welcome.
Hi. I didn't know that it's going to be me. I'm just going to say hi to you guys. But anyway, hi there, Prof. Perry and everyone else. Yes, it is a very interesting topic. To me, we are so used to not calling students customers. Education is still education because university has to provide education to students. Yes, it's a choice for the students to choose where they want to go and where they want to study and what sort of programs. Yeah, we always refer students as stakeholders, but not as customers. And I do believe that, by putting students as customers is more like a salesperson, selling something to them. But of course, education is something that they have to pay for. But I do believe that the terminology of customers, I think is not so right, referring to students, but more like the stakeholders. That's from my point of view. And yes, it's the responsibility of the university or any colleges or whatever of higher educations is a place where students must go and have educations. And it is not something that, yes, everyone can say, yes, they are buying the services, whatnot. But it is something that is already, traditionally, is education. Everyone has to go and have education, even like myself, yourself too. Yes, it's a lot. What you are trying to say is, even if it is experiential learning, long learning experience and all that, is still what it is. Even so when
Harviz, can I ask you a question? That what I'm hearing is you're speaking for the motion. You don't think students are customers of a university in any way?
Yeah, I don't think students are customers of a university.
Okay, thank you. That's a very interesting point. I've got another hand up here, Priyan Diaz. I'm going to come to you in a moment, but Paul Howe, to everyone, very interesting comment. This is an interesting topic. I think it's important to emphasize how both sides agree on the importance of quality management in terms of the delivery of our educational services as the receiving end of our services, regardless of how we term them, whether we call them customers or members of our institution. We should make sure that we provide their educational needs. Leaning towards to call them customers, though, because it makes us more guided and reminded how we should plan and protect their interest. I'm glad you put that at the end, because I was going to ask you to speak up and let us know which side you were standing on, but you're kind of leaning towards calling them customers. Okay, thank you. Priyan, I'm going to allow you to talk. Please say where you're from and whether you're speaking for or against the motion. Priyan.
Right. I am speaking from Sri Lanka. I have taught 40 years in a state university and 2 years in a private educational establishment. I am an engineering professor. Of course, I agree with the people who say students are much more than customers. Education, especially higher education, has to do with a community, perhaps like a family, as one of the speakers mentioned. But I think one of the things that has not come out in this debate, whether in a family or in a community, there are very strong power relations. And often in a family, children are at the receiving end. It's the parents who dictate everything. in a university environment, it's the professors and the academics, and maybe, of course, the administrators. Sometimes the administrators have everything. I mean, they even control the academics. But the students don't get much of a say, right? And of course, especially in Asia, now I don't know how it is in some countries that you are working in. In Sri Lanka, some of my students want to come and, touch my feet and worship me. It takes a lot of effort from my part to not to get them to do that. So there is that power imbalance. So it is because of that power imbalance that I think students must be treated at least as customers, at least as customers. They need to get what they signed up for. Whether they pay for their education or the state pays for their education, they need to get from the academics and the administrators what they signed up for. And of course,
you, Priyan. I think you make your point very clearly. Your students are clearly very unlike mine, but very interesting nonetheless. It's good to get these perspectives from different jurisdictions. I've got two more hands up. I'm going to go to both. The first is Paul Ernest Carreon. I'm going to Carreon, and the other is Shamim Rafiq Galea. So I'm going to go to Paul first. Paul, I'm allowing you to talk. If you can, please keep it to 2 minutes. Thank you. Hi, Paul. Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm from the Philippines, and it's a very interesting debate. However, I think I'm still also leaning to calling them customers for two reasons. Number one, like what I have said a while ago, it makes us measurable. It helps us understand from the start what are the services we offer, and it keeps us reminded that if we offer these services, we make sure that at the bare minimum we provide the service. The second one is, for me, I want to rebut on the argument that our customers are the industries, because before we enter the industries, we need to make sure first that our students like the industry that we're trying to refer to. Meaning, we are part of the decision-making process of our own students. How do they manage their free will in their own lives, and how do they want to express their passion? What if they want to be part of their own industry? What if they want to be micro entrepreneurs after they graduated? What if they immediately want to engage the business opportunities? That's an industry that's an industry that is non-existent. It is existent on their mind while they are students. They would imply it afterwards. So if we put it on that thought, I think we should focus on them, calling them customers, because it's their life that we are preparing, not just the industries.
Thank you very much, Paul, for that very interesting point. I also like the image of the, I guess it's the moon behind you, full moon, on the image. So very, very nice. Before we go any further, I'm just going to read out something from a colleague, Riddhi Agravat. Student quality is deteriorating. When they enroll, their behavior is as if they have bought a service. That respect for a guru or a teacher is no longer visible in student body in general. So very different from Priyan's experience. They want to keep up with materialistic and shallow life quality. Colleges end up treating them as customers, though not necessarily by choice. Now I'm going to go to an old friend. I assume she's calling from Malaysia. Shamim, I'm allowing you to speak. You're in KL, I guess. Just try and keep it to 2 minutes if you can. Lovely to hear from you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's a very interesting discussion. I'm going to go with, I've always viewed students as customers, and very important ones. They are actually not only customers, but they're also stakeholders, very important stakeholders. So the customers and stakeholders, they go together. Now, without them, we don't have a university, we don't have a job. That's how I view it. But what I'm saying is that as customers, if the promise that you make, the vision, mission statement that you outline for your university, you must deliver them. And as times have changed, that delivery changes as well. So you have to listen to your customers. What do they have to say? How do they see the universities? top decisions are made for them, top down, but their voice are never heard. If it's heard, very rarely. Yeah. So so that's where I'm gonna stop there. I know you'll stop me anyway.
Thank you, Shamim. I think you make very succinct and very good point. Okay, so I think we've had a pretty lively debate. I'm now going to go in reverse order. And guys, if possible, I'm springing this on you. I'd like you to do this within a minute, and I'd like 5 bullet points summarizing your arguments. And come on, there's an academic test for all of you. Remember doing those précis at school. What we want is 5 bullet points. Karen has it the toughest because I'm going to go to Karen first. So Karen, speaking against the motion, in 1 minute, what would be your 5 bullet points for your argument?
I would say, sorry, there is a noise outside. I would say customers means quality. Okay. Then the world is changing and we need university. It's our duty and mission to be part of the change. Okay. Then we have always to look at the global picture. That is the third point, because we all have different perspective and understanding depending on the country where we work and the context or regulation of this country. And then don't forget as well that having each company, or it would say the same institution, have vision and mission. That's the same everywhere at every level of the economy. And university, higher education is part of the economy.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very succinct. So I'm now going to go to Dr. Nico Joost in South Africa. Nico, your 5 bullet points in 1 minute. You're muted at the moment, Nico.
There you are. The first is that we should not devalue who we are by using simple business terminology. The unintended my second bullet point is unintended outcomes. And I know you're not going to allow me for more than a minute, but I just want to say there's unintended outcomes that we've seen in South Africa with the customers demanding universities to devalue the fees must fall issue, which nearly brought higher education to a standstill. So that's the second one, that the customer, if we call students customers, the relationship changes, and therefore universities can quickly become unruly if we do not stick to the university values. And the last bullet point that I want to make is the relationship needs to be valued between the student and the academic. It is not equal, but it doesn't mean it's a power relationship that devalues the student. But the moment that we call them customers, we say there's equal relations, and it isn't equal. And we need to make sure that we do that throughout the value chain of the university.
Thank you, Nico. Some fairly powerful points there. I think power relationship idea is quite an interesting one. You know, what is the power relationship between a customer and a provider, and how does that differ from the power relationship between professor and student? Okay, Perry, opposing the motion, I'm coming to you as the penultimate 5 bullet points. You have 1 minute starting now.
Right. Well, I'm going to pick up on that point about power relationships, because my first point is that they did exist. And thank goodness we are now thinking of students as customers, because before students weren't getting what they were paying for. And as our members of the audience have said, students weren't getting what they paid for. And what we're making sure is that they do get the bare minimum that's provided. And that's important. And if we don't treat people as customers, universities weren't doing that. My second point is that it was made by Moritz. We keep talking about this slippery slope. I don't see this as a slippery slope at all. What he's agreeing to, the fact is that reality is students are customers now, and that he's fearful we go down a worse slope on this. I think it's completely the opposite, because often it's said, third point, that students cannot be customers because customers are always right. That's not the case. Legally, our students do have rights because they are treated and recognized by the law as being customers. The fourth point, and finally, is to talk about, Liko talks about devaluing the relationship. My concern is really that the relationship was never valued in the first place. By recognizing students as customers, we do that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Perry. Just before we go to Prof. Moritz, I see Aini Idris, an old friend of mine as well from Malaysia, is agreeing with her Malaysian compatriot, Shamim. I do wonder just how much, how we view this depends on the jurisdiction where we live and practice. Anyway, let's now go to Moritz. Moritz, 5 bullet points with 1 minute, starting now.
So Kevin, one of the things we teach our students is to use their own brain and never blindly follow any form of instructions ever, right? So what I'm going to say here is, look, I was recently at the recruitment fair. They were not even talking about customers anymore. They were talking about bums on seats, right? This is the sad reality in our society. We dehumanize, right? Customers are spreadsheets. They're no longer individuals, people with a name and a character, etc. Patients become consumers because they buy medical services. Children apparently are assets with a defined return on investment, right? It is this tendency in society to look at everything in these kind of transactional terms. And it makes life so much easier by doing it that way, because suddenly we don't need to be a person either anymore. We just deliver whatever people pay us for. It is exactly the opposite of what we're trying to achieve with our education, and that is to get people to use their own brain and to actually think and also be comfortable with the fact that it is not just about transaction, it's not just about rights and rationality, it is very much also about emotion and what do you feel for your alma mater, what do you feel for your professor, and the other way around.
Okay,
so
thank you, Mark. I'm going to stop you there, I'm sorry. I want to be fair to everyone. I let you have a bit more than a minute. I just want to unmute you. Okay, so I think that's, to be honest, this is one of the first debates where I really find it hard to choose between the two sides. I think this is obviously a very important topic. There are strong feelings on both sides. I will admit to being completely torn. But we're academics, we should show leadership. I would, very shortly, I'll be putting the poll up again. Remember, at the pre-vote, the pre-test, if you like, 51% of our attendees believe that students are not the customers of a university, but 49% believe that students are. They disagreed with that statement, or they believe that students are the customers of a university. I agree with the comments online. It's been a fantastic discussion. And I'll come back and thank our speakers later, not just our 4 distinguished speakers, but also the attendees. But first, Simon, if you can just put the poll up, please. You're going to have 1 minute to vote again, beginning now. I'm very interested to see how this turns out. Wow, still close. I want to see as many people as possible vote. We're only just over 50% voting at the moment. Come on, guys. There's still another 20, 30 people to vote. Keep going. Come on, let's have a vote from everybody. Try and plump for one or the other. This is so close. Every single vote will count. It's very, very close, as it was at the beginning. At the moment, yeah, there's only 5% in it. So your vote really counts for once. Keep going. We've got another, I'm going to give you another 10 seconds. 10, 9, because you've not all voted. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to end the poll. Okay, I'm now going to share the results. 57% agree that students are not the customers of a university, and 43% disagree. So 43% are kind of the view that students are customers of a university. So the prize goes to Moritz and Nico for converting 6% of our voters, a swing of 6% towards being supportive of the motion. I would like to give a prize also to Professor Perry Hobson and Karen Peronan for a stalwart opposition to the motion. I think looking at the comments online, everyone has been really taken by the power of the arguments on both sides. So before I hand back to Mandy, I just want to thank, first of all, every single one of our attendees, and particularly those that contributed either in writing or by coming on and speaking online. I also want to give my personal thanks to my 4 distinguished friends and colleagues from around the world who've made this a very, very interesting topic. I've learned a great deal tonight. You're never too old to learn, and I've learned a lot from the arguments tonight. So thank you all very much indeed, and I look forward to the next Applied HE debate. Before you go, I'm going to hand back to our host from Applied HE, Mandy Mock, who's in Singapore. It's great that these things are around the globe. So Mandy, over to you. You're muted, Mandy. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Oh. Anyway, hello everyone. I'd like to thank all the lively debaters for their very impressive discussion. I hope you've all enjoyed it.
Sorry, Mandy, we can hardly hear you. I don't know if other people are the same as me. It's very quiet.
Oh dear. Can you hear me now?
Still quite quiet.
I don't know what to do.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
That's a bit better.
Okay. So thank you very much for all the lively debaters for their very impressive discussion. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I certainly did. A big thank you to Professor Kevin Downing for our debate master. His wicked humor is wicked. And last but not least, a big thank you to all our participants for joining us tonight. This is the 3rd and last Squaring the Circle debate for the year. Alternating with Squaring the Circle debate is the fireside chat, and the 3rd and last fireside chat for the year is scheduled on the 20th of December, also on a Wednesday, and also at 8 p.m. Singapore time. And the topic is, should universities be rated for its internationalization? If so, how best to do it? We will be sending reminder emailers, so do check your emails or spam boxes towards mid-December. Time passes, doesn't it? We are into season 5 in a few more weeks. This is a lineup of the months for the Squaring the Circle debate and fireside chat for 2024. We have reduced it to quarterly instead of bi-monthly because everyone is busy traveling. So we will be emailing you when the dates and themes are confirmed. Please check your emails, and I hope you will give us your support as you've been doing for the past 4 years. Do write to me if you would like to participate as a speaker. In a couple of weeks, we will be the new rankers in town. On the 1st of December 2023, we will be launching the Applied HE Public and Private University Rankings for the ASEAN region in Cebu, Philippines. You're all most welcome to join us in person. It is held jointly with the Annual General Assembly of the Philippines Association of Colleges and Universities Commission on Accreditation, or PACOCOA as they're generally known. So what this means is you will be able to meet all the universities in the Philippines, all under one roof. And I'm sure they're all looking forward to meet you too. So I hope to see you all in beautiful Cebu in December. For more information on this event, please visit our website, appliedhe.com. Next, we have just launched a new consulting project. I'd like to introduce you to a smart consulting strategy. I call it the 3 Musketeers, or 3M for short. How did the 3M came about? Well, this is the story. In my 2 decades of extensive experience and observation in the higher education industry, and having had the privilege of speaking to key decision makers like presidents, vice chancellors, rectors, ministers, etc., I have made 3 crucial observations. The first observation is, if you can promote your employability and student satisfaction successfully, you would have been able to convince both the parents and students that your school is the right choice. I won't go into details, but for every observation, we will have a solution. And the solution for observation 1 is the job ready rating from Applied HE. The second observation is, if you know how to communicate, engage, and most of all, retain your alumni, you would have won half the battle already, because you would have been able to raise your reputation easily, both locally and globally. You would be able to recruit new students, generate more funding, donations, find more job opportunities, internships for graduates, and many more. To address this, we've created the Alumni Ready app to help you do the job. The third observation is, if you can equip your students with the soft skills that employers want, your students would be in great demand, hence raising your employer reputation. And the solution to this is the Applied HE Critical Thinking Assessment Test, created specifically for your graduating students. This smart solution for the third observation has 3 strategies. First, it helps to improve your students' soft skills, making them more attractive to employers. Secondly, it is designed to put your institution's brand and employability statistics of your students into the hands of employers, that therefore enhancing your employer reputation. And thirdly, it is an effective strategy to increase your employer reputation at low cost or low cost to your institution. So my 3 observations have evolved into a cutting-edge strategic consulting approach, meticulously crafted to tackle all your institution's challenges. The 3M consulting strategy will provide powerful insights and information for universities to make informed decisions and strategies, and to truly understand all your stakeholders involved. Most consulting projects only look at one dimension, and that is addressing your current situation. With our 3M radar-like approach, you can now address your institution's past, present, and future challenges. Our apps and solutions will be able to help not just one department, but several key departments of your university. The 3M strategy is truly an all-rounder, transforming your institution's future like never before. Definitely a game changer in the consulting space. So just imagine higher student enrollment, whether local or international, enhanced graduate employability, increased student satisfaction, and a vibrant and thriving alumni community. All these contributing to your institution's financial position and improved university rankings. This is not only a smart consulting project looking at your institution from 3 dimensions, but also a fundamental step to take if you're serious about improving the overall quality of your institution. So please contact me if you're interested in this innovative strategic audit. You will be very surprised at the competitive cost. And last but not least, we want to acknowledge our sponsors. We're very grateful for all their support. The City University of Hong Kong, Universitas Hasanuddin of Makassar in Indonesia, and Education Insight from the UK. A big thank you for all your valuable support. So we've come to the end of the 3rd and last Squaring the Circle debate for the year. Thanks very much, everyone, but please do not leave the room yet. We always must have our Applied HE signature sign-off after our webinars. So we want to invite you to network for a bit with everyone present here. We're going to open the room, for a few minutes. You can see each other, say hello, introduce yourself. And this is as much as we can do online in the name of networking. So please turn on your camera. Simon will be upgrading you to panelists. Please do not decline. And before I hand you over to Simon, I'd like to remind you again, if you'd like to speak at any of our webinars, please reach out to us. Thank you. Have a great evening or great day ahead. Over to you now, Simon. What happened? Oh.
Simon,
I think we're all still here.
Simon, are you upgrading them?
You're muted, Simon.
Hi. No. I'm doing
You having a technical problem?
No. But most have rejected.
Must be Moritz.
Thank you.
I see everyone.
Kevin, thank you, Mandy.
Where are you from, Hafiz?
I'm from Kuala Lumpur,
Okay.
Malaysia. Yeah.
He's at UKM. Good to see you, Hafiz. How you doing?
Perry, I'm almost like everywhere right now. Yeah, it's
Good
so
to
interesting.
see you again.
Guys, I love watching you guys. Very good insights. Everyone has their own perspective, and yeah, it's a good debate. Very interesting topics. Yeah, hope to see everyone here in Kuala Lumpur in the future.
Yeah, I hope very much to have one of these live at a conference very soon. It'd be great to get back together again for all the off-campus activities. I'm missing that. I'm not that old yet that I can't still enjoy them. I want to enjoy them while I can.
It's true.
Hi,
Good
Amira.
thinking. Good idea, Kevin.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you support that, Perry. Good excuse to come back to Asia again.
Yes, that's right. I know.
Yeah,
I would look forward to that. Look forward to an excuse.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thanks for all of you that are coming on live video. It's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for the invites.
And at this time of the year, this time of the day, thank you for not wearing your pajamas. So I just say hello to Negusi. Hi, Negusi, and Elmira, and Paul, and Syed, and Badrani.
Hello, everyone. This is
Hello.
from Pakistan.
Feel free to speak.
That's interesting. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, you have the power, so unmute and speak.
Everyone.
Thank you very much. From Sri Lanka, thank you very much. I think we had one of our professors, Professor Priyanda, is also from Sri Lanka. Thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Thank you, Badrani. Yeah, Negusi, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Tanzania.
Oh, lovely. Wonderful. Nice part of the world. I can see the sun streaming through the window. All I've got is darkness here. It's nighttime. But...
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Elmira, I thought you were going to speak and then you disappeared. Your videos disappeared. Never mind. Oh, that's better. So where are you calling from, Elmira?
I'm from Kazakhstan.
Oh, wonderful. I'm in Kazakhstan. Let me see. I arrived there on the 28th at 2 a.m. in the morning. 28th of November. I'm there until the 1st with your ministry for a while.
Great.
In Almaty, the beautiful city.
I see.
Are you
I'm in
Almaty?
Astana. No, I'm in Astana.
Very modern Astana.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks very much, everyone. It's been a wonderful debate. The last one for the year.
Thank you. That
Thank
was
you,
a
Mandy.
pleasure.
Thank
Always
you.
a pleasure to meet all of you.
And you, Karen. Au revoir.
Thank you.
revoir.
Thank,
Au revoir.
thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
good
Bye.
evening,
Bye.
everyone.
Have a good
Thank you,
night
Terry.
Bye.
for the
Bye-bye.
one
Kevin,
that's
Mandy,
on the other
everyone.
part. See you. Bye.
But see you, Moritz.
Yeah, see you in
Yeah.
Belgium.
Kevin,
Oh,
you got to understand that
Yeah,
Breda
thanks,
is
thanks
where
for that, Morris.
Moritz is right below me, but that's his hometown where I am.
But what
Yeah, but that's
language do they
true about-
speak in Belgium? That is another question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Huh?
very
Yes.
Depends who
important.
you ask.
Yeah. There's one language we all understand, but the other one is unintelligible.
I don't want to know which one you're talking about.
No,
I understand. I understand one of the languages very well. So
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
But I'm not sure it's the one Kevin understands.
No, I was
No,
thinking
I'm
the
sure it's
French,
not.
And Nico was talking about where Afrikaans came from.
Flemish,
That's right.
Yeah.
Flemish, exactly.
Solidly.
Okay, guys, take care.
Thank you,
All right.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nestor, see you.
Bye.
Hi, everyone. Ba't ayaw mo? Away natin mama mo. Love mo ba si mama mo? Yes, love niya pala mama niya eh.